Next method, the second method, video export library by Abe Pazos. We will use the same code, but first we will need to add the video export library. To do that, you just go to Sketch, Import Library, Add Library, and then you just type in here Export Video, and then you get already the video export library by Abe Pazos, and you have to install it. I have it already installed, so no problem, we can just continue. It takes a bit of time because it's quite a big library, but once you have it, you just click on it and it says installed, and then you can close the window. If the library is on your computer already, then you go again back to Sketch, Import Library, and you select Video Export. There it is already. Perfect. We have now the video export library in our processing sketch. Next step, let's have a look at GitHub by Abe Pazos and see the examples and what we need to do and how to use this library. This is the GitHub, and you can see already video export processing. There are some other things that you can check. Actually, it's quite nice. He did a lot of work, so it's actually great. And when we click on this, so we see here lots of examples already. Like here, there are many examples like basic, interactive, internet video, multiple movies, options using P graphics, webcam, audio, etc. And also audio visuals. Let's go back. First, README. Quite important. So there is a basic example. Great. And first thing, you need to download and install FFmpeg on your system before you can use this library. Okay, let's check this, what it is. Download FFmpeg, maybe about first. So FFmpeg is the leading multimedia framework able to decode, encode, transcode, mux, demux, stream, filter, and play pretty much anything that humans and machines have created. So that's actually quite great for video encoding. So we download this library or this FFmpeg, and you can choose also the platform that you use. In my case, I will use Windows. And I click here now. I'm redirected to another website, and there is the first link to download. I download now. It is a zip file. There it is. I open up, and this is our folder that we have to unpack. I will place it on my C drive. Yep. Takes a bit of time because there is a lot of files. Depending on this, I think on the Mac version there is more files, so it will take more time. I will delete all of these things. That's not necessary. All right, this is our folder, and there is the bin, which we will need this exe file in a bit. Okay, I close this. Let's go back to the examples. Okay, so I will use now this example. I'm a bit lazy to write everything by myself, so I just copy. And I paste it here in a new window, so I have it parallel, so we already see the import library here. And then I just select, copy this one, video export, to declare the class video export in that case. And we also need this part to put in the setup. I put it below size. That means that video export, please create a new video. This is the window, and behind it you can add the file name, the video file. If you don't do this, so you can just, if you don't want this, you can also delete it, and it will just create a generic name. So I keep it inside, and we just say video export. Okay, MP4. And then the next line says start movie. So it initiates. First we initiate what kind of video file we create, what do we want to record, what is the file name, and then with the next line we say please start recording now. And then it starts to record in the draw. Additionally, this is of course not finished. Let's turn off the saveFrame. Additionally, we need to copy this one or write video export. So video export is the class here on the top, and we say saveFrame. SaveFrame as before, it's the same comment, but what it does, the library, it basically saves each individual frame and places it directly into the movie file. Not like before with the MOV, with the movie maker, where we save them individually, we can see them, and then we have to combine them manually. This library is doing everything at once, which is the beauty of it actually. That makes it very, very easy. And then of course we have here as well, like void key press Q, then it ends the movie, exit. Yeah, we can use this. I think also automatically if you press stop, it just also says end movie, so there is no problem in general. So those three things actually are important here, this part in the setup, and then of course we say video export. I also will keep the exit inside, because otherwise I don't know when to stop. So I'd like that actually processing stops by itself. And additionally, I want to turn on the frame rate. So I want to print in the console my frame rate. I want to see how demanding my sketch is for the video export. Okay, I now press run and let's record our first video. Oh, error. What does it mean? The video export library requires FFmpeg, and we already downloaded it, so we need to now select where is the folder. Wait a second, I just close this window and turn off this part, because otherwise I'm not that quick to select the folder. Okay, one more time. And now let's select the folder. It was on my C drive. There you go, and there's my FFmpeg bin, and I need to select this exe file. Okay, perfect. It's all done. Now let's turn it on again, and if I run the sketch, there should be no error message anymore, and I should be able to record the video. Let's do it. There you go. My frame rates are a little bit dropping actually, as you can see here, because I'm recording right now like 3 different things at once on this computer. Okay, perfect. That's it. Let's check the folder. And there is our video file already. Perfect. So this is our sketch here. It's a new folder, and this is our video file. And you can see, compared to before, where we had like almost 7 megabyte file uncompressed, now we have a compressed file. It's just only like half a megabyte only. Let's check the properties and details, and you can see it's 30 frames per second. So this export library was exporting at 30 frames per second, not 60 as we did before. And the total bitrate is only 438 kilobit per second, so like half a megabit. Before we had almost 10 megabit, now we have only half a megabit, which is 20 times less the bitrate that we had before. So this file is extremely compressed actually. Let's have a look at the quality. Now it is an MP4 container, so we can open it up at any possible player, and it also has the H.264 codec already. Okay, so this is our 30 frames per second. It's quite smooth, it's nice, it's great. Okay, and it's 6 seconds long. No, it's actually 12 seconds long, because we have only 30 frames per second. Now this process can be quite time intensive to write the code of video export for each sketch, because you have to add the library, you have to add the classes, you have to define, you have to also start the video, then you have to put on the bottom the save frame. So it sometimes can be like a burden just to repeat it all the time if you want to export very quickly the sketch. So what we can do is we can add a tab for record video, and I already prepared this. So I have here in this particular folder, it's a new folder for just only this case. So I have usually like folder with libraries for my own functions that I just simply copy into the processing sketch folder. So I take this file and I just paste it here, and you can see already in the sketch, it appears instantly as a tab, a new tab. And this is the code that I have. So I already put here the library I imported and declare the code, the class that I had, and then I also say a new functions I create for record video. And inside I use the timestamp again, as we did this already with the images, same like month, year, month, day, and also hour, minute, and second. So I just can also maybe use it as well, the same timestamp for video, for images as well. Maybe I can export images and video at the same time. Additionally, I also use here for the name, I use the sketch name for the video file name, additionally the timestamp, and maybe the frame count as well, because I might save a lot of different videos at the same time. And I also specify the frame rate. So I use video export.set frame rate at 60 frames per second. Before I had only 30, but you can always change it. So that's actually quite great. And then I say also start recording the video. The rest of it is like a print line. So for example, recording is on, show me the frame count, so I also know how fast it's recording, and as well show me the frame rate, so I also know whether it records at a certain pace. And then the rest is again like Q for ending the video and so on. Okay, so if I want to record now, I just take this and place it here inside. That's it basically. Now I can, anytime I want to record a new video, I have a new sketch and I just want to export a video, I just need to copy simply this tab, this PDE file, processing file, in any folder, wherever is my sketch right now that I'm working at, and then it automatically adds it here inside, and I just only need to call the function, and it starts automatically to record my video. All right, what is my file name here? This is the case. Let's record. And you can see already on the bottom, so this is my console, so recording is on. I already export like 267, 300 frames already, and my frame rate is about 50. The difference, of course, with this video export library is great. Even I set 60 frames per second, so the video will be 60 frames per second, and the recording frame rate that I'm recording right now, it's only 50. That is irrelevant. It doesn't matter because this video export library puts everything nicely, each individual frame inside. It doesn't omit any frame, and that's the beauty of it. So even your computer and the sketch is very intensive, so it's quite slow, maybe just 10 frames per second or maybe 5 even. Everything will be in the end very smooth. So it says here the file is saved. Let's check. This is our file with a different file name. So the file name is the processing sketch we said already, and also the date and then the MP4 file. Okay, it's also 530 kilobyte size only, about the same total bitrate. It's slightly higher because we have higher frame rate. Before we had about like 600 or 500 kilobits per second. Now we have 700. So the higher the frame rate, the more bitrate we can get. Okay, open up. And it's nice and smooth, better than before. You can't see it right now on your screen because the video is only at 30 frames per second on YouTube, but it's definitely smooth. All right, perfect. So that works very nice with this tab that you can always use for any sketch that you do. You just need to copy it. Next case, which is also the strength of the video expert, I think, is the interactive and intuitive recording. I have for that here a very simple code, which has just based on a line that I draw when I press the mouse, and it draws different kinds of thicknesses of the line, stroke weight based on the distance between the previous and past mouse coordinates. Yeah, so I use basically mouse X and P mouse X, for example. Okay, so we just record this. Let's check maybe the recording settings. So here we have from the previous one case 60 frames per second. Let's change it to 30 frames per second because for drawing you don't need that many frames. You could even use 24 frames, which is also fine enough for such a drawing. But let's use 30 frames per second. Let's turn on the record and I start the sketch. All right, so I'm just drawing something, for example, like this, like this, like this, and like this, like this, like this, and like this. All right, finish. I press stop. Let's check our folder. And in the folder, we have already the file. It's 280 kilobyte large. Let's check the details. Total bit frame is 131 kilobits per second, which is very low for such a drawing. Again, it's perfect. All right, let's play it. And there it is. So I think this is amazing for this kind of library. So you can really draw your own sketches and you can as well export them. Pretty good. You can also share it online on the social media, wherever you want. So that's something that saveFrame, the first method, doesn't provide you. The next method, or the next case, is video export with switches. And I will talk also about this in detail in the next video. So we use also again the same sketch, basically. I also have record video. Let's have a look in the switch. So here I have more options. I developed it a bit further. So of course I have the Q for stop recording and exiting the window. I use R for recording, pausing, resuming the recording. So I can also actually, while I'm recording the video, I can say pause by pressing R, and then it will basically wait until I press again R to continue recording. In the meantime, I can change the settings of the processing sketch, for example. I can also press N. I can press also N to start a new file. And that's very useful because sometimes you draw something and then you say you don't want to have everything in one big large file. So you just press N and you just continue with a new video file, but you continue drawing, you continue recording what you have on your sketch window. And then of course I can also change the quality, video quality. So I just say 100 because it's the largest setting possible. We can't here really set up the bit rates, which is kind of unfortunate, but we can determine the quality of it at least somehow. But it's compressed, of course. There is also the audio quality. We talk about this in a bit. And of course, I changed the frames per second to 30. Okay, and there is much more to that. All right, let's start again, and I show you how that works. So in that case, it says here recording is off, which is good. When I press R, it starts recording. And then I also can start recording also on the screen with the mouse. Let's do this. All right, I'm doing it. In the console, we say we have the same options. Now I press N because I want to record this motion in a second video file. Okay, and now I press Q, finish. Let's have a look into the folder and the video files. So here are the two video files that we just recorded. The first one was the first motion. Let's make a bit full screen. So you can see I'm recording this in that way. Oh, I stopped there, yeah. And then I continue moving. All right, that was the first file, finish. And now in the next file that when I press the N, it basically continue with the second motion. Okay, the next case, video export with audio. Can this library help us to export audio visuals with audio? That's a big question actually, for me especially, because I do work a lot with audio visuals, as you know, on the channel, from the videos on the channel. Okay, the next case, video export with audio. Can this library help us to export audio visuals with audio? That's a big question actually, for me especially, because I do work a lot with audio visuals, as you know, on the channel, from the videos on the channel. So let's test this. I have here the code for an audio visual, and I also included the record switch tab, where I just press R for recording the video or N for new, for example. And we say also here false is record switch, so I just have to press R to play it. Let's have a look. Now I'm pressing R because the recording is off and it's also at no loop. So you can hear also the sound at the same time. So it's a research work basically. I didn't share it yet before, but you see there is some audio inside. We have the audio visual, and it's a very basic drawing. And what I like to do is I want to record with the video export library the audio visual, including the sound. Okay, so basically that's finished. Now I just press Q for quit. That's it. Let's open the folder. Here's the video file. Let's check. Maybe I want to see what is the bitrate for it. The bitrate is it's actually quite high. It's almost 2 megabit per second because we have a lot of details there now. A lot of grays and different kinds of thicknesses of lines, which is nice, but I want to see whether we have audio. Nope, we don't have an audio. So there is actually already, you can see a problem. This library is amazing, but it doesn't help us to export audios. When you visit the GitHub page from Abe Pazos, and you see in the examples that there is also the audio case, so we have a look at the code. So what happens here is he uses like a slight different trick. So even he includes the audio file, but he usually just only mentions how long is the sound file. Yeah, so basically he basically checks the audio file and then says, okay, the audio file is 10 seconds long. So he gives it first a break in the beginning, and after the break, it starts recording. So you know when you combine the audio file when you combine the video file with the audio file in a third-party third software, for example Premiere, you know where to place the video file and the audio file together. You know where to synchronize it. Also, the other example is with the audio visual, and the audio visual is a bit more complex, so I think you can actually check it. So here you see he uses the minim library for audios, and he adds the sound file, of course the frame rate, everything, and then there is a lot of explanations, but the main difference is for this audio that you do not record the audio itself. What he does here in that case, he exports a text file. Yeah, so here, audio to text file, and in the text file he mentions the milliseconds or frames where you can later synchronize the audio with the video footage. So this library is amazing, but we cannot record audio, unfortunately. Okay, let's look at the case. So we know already with the export video library or video export library and also screen capture, basically both of them I can cover right now. What we do, we generate video data, and this video data is instantly encoded, compressed with an H.264 coding, and then it is placed into a container, MP4 container. The problem with that is that it is in lossy format, so that means we lose information. And as you can see here on the left side, we have already this exported video, and it's kind of very blurred, so even you can see it on YouTube as well, that the edges are not very nice and crisp as you would see it on the code. On the right hand side we had the uncompressed version, and these lines are very nice and crisp. There is no shadow around it, and if there is any right now, that's because of YouTube already. Yeah. So those are actually the two big differences. If you export with the library, you get compressed files. Even more when you look more into detail, so we have those two images, I just show you that. On the right side, we have uncompressed video, so it's a PNG file, and it's nice and crisp, really sharp edges. Whereas on the left side, we have a compressed file. It's a JPEG, but it's the same thing as if you export with a video export library, and you can see already a big difference. Even I zoom fully inside, there is already a lot of blurred edges. They're not very nice and crisp, so that's the disadvantage of this video export library, that you get already compressed videos, and they have already lower quality, and of course you cannot specify the bitrate, and as well, if you want to work with it for post-production, you will have problems. The quality will decrease. So the export video library is fast and intuitive and interactive, so it's great for that. I think it's amazing for that. And it can be easily implemented with a separate tab for new sketches. So when you have the tab, you just copy it inside and it's done already. It's amazing. But the compression and bitrate of colors is very low. Yeah, so you have not much really control over it. And especially with the compression and the lossy format, that for me is personally a big issue to use it for high quality editing, video editing, because you see every time you save the file or you work with it, the quality decreases, and that's something you should never do actually.